We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Hassani.
I'm Danielle.
And you're watching the Couples Academy Show. It is Tuesday morning. We were not on yesterday because we were on such a high and low because we were tired.
We was on the roller coaster of the last chance weekend.
Man, oh man, oh man.
Ooh.
What a weekend it was.
Yes, we start very low actually because the couples come in and they are heavy. But we go up and down, and by the end of it, everybody's going down that last run on the roller coaster like, whee! All the way down.
All the way down. So today we figured we'd do a last chance weekend recap. There are many of you who have yet to come and experience this thing. We want to give you a little snippet of what that experience is like. And then we want the others who were here this weekend and the month prior to bask in the residue of it because it was truly impactful. Well, listen, before we get started, we want to encourage you to
make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you will not miss a show. We appreciate that you're doing it, and it's helping us to spread that message across the 4 corners of the earth, y'all.
Now, your class is coming up. It actually starts next Tuesday. I want you to talk a little bit about the power of Unearthed.
First of all, we were going to start it today, actually, but I think we need to hold the door open for 1 more week for people to get in. Because once we close the doors, we put a deadbolt lock on it and can't nobody else get in. Because there is a synergy that takes place in the midst of a group that is actually doing the work to bond and connect and hold each other accountable. Unearthed is a program that I created from the heartbeat and bleed of all of our clients over the years that we've worked with, who these wives are working towards a recovery in their marriage, and they're still hurting and they're still just struggling to move forward. Even when the husband is doing the right thing, even when they may be doing the right thing, it's still a huge struggle because after any kind of betrayal, it's like your entire world blows all the way up and you are under the rubble. And so in Unearthed, we teach you that healing is a choice, and we actually teach you how to make that choice through a process, a scientifically proven process called rewirement. And so every week for 12 weeks, we take you through this process. There are exercises, there are challenges that we could all commit to as a group. There is a sisterhood and a connection that holds you accountable and encourages you when you're feeling low or when you're struggling, because all the different personality styles in the group, some people soar at certain challenges, some people really struggle with certain challenges. And so we take you through this process, and it's really exciting to be opening up our second group. So I want to invite you, if you are struggling, if you are really still uncertain and just can't find yourself, you are still struggling to know who you are after the betrayal, still feel like you're picking up the pieces, whether he is doing the right thing or not, or whether you are back on your feet, because it's not always the husband that was the betrayer. Sometimes it's the wife that betrayed. And so you've basically blown your own world up and you're under your own rubble. Wherever you're at, join Unearthed. That is the process that you need to get unearthed, to realize your true self, and to get back on your feet and where you're supposed to be so you can move forward in your purpose.
There it is. So get in there. It's going to be impactful. Listen, we're talking about the last chance weekend today. We just want to give you some visual peeks into what that experience was like. I think the best thing to do would be to start off with a testimonial. We used to have so many testimonials, but we go so close to the end because it's so impactful and people are trying to get as much as they can, but we are able to get a few, so we're going to share one of those right now. So stay right there.
I am Tiffany, and I'm from Colorado.
And I'm Anthony, Tiffany's husband. We're from Colorado. And, for us, I think the biggest thing for me anyway was just going in on day one and with an idea in my head of who I was and looking at others a certain way. And I realized about halfway through that a lot of the pain and suffering, I was actually the one that was facilitating a lot of that pain. And the reaction I was getting that I had a problem with actually was because I was the one that was starting it.
And I think on my end, I agreed coming here because I thought, it'll be a chance for him to fix himself and I'll get reaffirmed and everything will be easy on my end. I just have to sit back and let the apology roll in. Best case scenario. And the team here challenged everything that I brought to the team in the most healthy and productive way I could have ever imagined. And so going from the victim mentality to realizing that I play just as much of a part of my relationship as my husband does changed so much. And it sounds simple, but I think it flipped our lives to a totally different track.
I, didn't necessarily believe in therapy before, and it had never worked at all. And I wish that we would have done this the second month that we were dating. I wish with everything that it didn't take us this long to find this place, because so much of the teachings here could have saved us years and years of pain. And the difference here versus other places, other places you might go for an hour and unlock all sorts of pain and problems, and then you go home and you argue about those things, and there's no solution or help or guiding through while the pain is still there, and you just go week to week with that little bit. So here there was actually unlock the pain and then help getting through it immediately without having to go through months or weeks at a time of getting nowhere because each session was starting over.
Yeah. And I came from a background, I went to school in psychology. I've seen multiple therapists. I've tried to tout my own self-awareness around like a badge. And it's different here. The accountability is different here. They're not afraid to question what you are so confident in. They're not afraid to say, let's backtrack. Let's challenge that. And I think it unlocked a lot of growth in a very painful way, but a very productive way that I never would have been able to do in 30 minutes or an hour once a week for 5 years, which I've done. So I think that's the biggest difference, is immediately seeing that change and immediately being challenged by people that you can look up to and respect.
I love that couple so much. I saw all the light bulbs go off when they were learning about how their personalities conflict with each other. Him being an Enneagram 8 and her being, I think it was a 2-3, yes, or 2-1. The conflict of the powerful 8 who's very direct, and then the 2 who was the loving, soft-centered, heart-feeling person. There was just an immediate conflict in just their style of communicating. But I want to give a shout out. They acknowledged the team. And I got to give a shout out to our amazing team, and their partners actually came to support this weekend. So to Jeff and Maribel, who came out and really worked hard to get this thing done, Charmaine and Walter, Keisha, and Willie came through, Gonzalez and Jewel, Rachel and her partner came through, it was Ernest. And so it was really just powerful for us all to be able to be there and wrap our arms around these couples and support them individually the way that we do. They're not wrong when they talk about how, we are not afraid to hold you accountable to the things that you say that you believe, right? When something comes out of your mouth and you believe it, right? We're going to hold you accountable to that. We're going to question that. We're going to delve deep into that. We're going to dissect it and make sure you really believe what it is that you're saying. And oftentimes we really don't. We don't actually know what we mean when we're saying the things that we say to each other. So it's a really amazing experience to watch people's eyes widen as they are able to receive a concept that they had never understood before.
Absolutely.
So
one thing about that testimony that we just saw, when she said she had been in therapy for 5 years, and she leaves with pain. She leaves with possibly a lack of understanding. But going through this, how she's gained more in 3 days than what she's gotten in 5 years. Guys, we could tell you this all day long, but when you hear from other people who have been there and have done that, it's interesting because a lot of people come from therapy, and some people come to us and have never gone to a counseling session before, so there's no context for what we're doing. But I just want to let you know it's impactful. This is a testimonial we just got in. This is powerful. It says, when I called Couples Academy, I was taking bags of mine to a different house. My wife was finished and wanted nothing to do with me and would not speak to me. Hassani personally called my wife, and she reluctantly agreed to attend the Last Chance weekend. What Couples Academy has us work through and the self-reflection they facilitated ended up being a truly life-changing experience. We're going home together, hopeful, full of love, and excited about our future together, when just 4 days ago we were set on divorce. And so it's interesting because so many people come in here and say, 3 days, ain't not going to happen in 3 days. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And they are amazed how a day can change the course of your life.
Right. Well, that last testimony, Anthony had mentioned how you go and you're spending an hour in a session dealing with all these things, and then you're angry and you're frustrated and you go home and you have to deal with that. And we say that all the time. Oftentimes, those hourly sessions really don't help depending on where you're at, because you got to wait a whole nother week before you dial back into it, and there's even more frustration because you didn't deal with the last frustration. So people come here with a tremendous amount of hope on day one. Because they saw the testimonials and they've heard us talk, but there's also at the same time a tremendous amount of apprehension, disbelief as well. There's just no way. Like, you don't even know what I'm going through. I can't tell you how many times I hear when we do our women's circle, they say, I just don't believe this is going to work for me. Like, this is my last chance, and I came here out of a last ditch effort just to be able to say that I did all that I can, but there's just no way this is going to work. You don't know, and you don't understand my situation. You've never dealt with my husband before. I've heard that so many times. You've never dealt with my type of husband before. And we always assure them, listen, we have dealt with the worst of the worst and the best of the best. At the same time, we're all here for the same journey, so trust the process.
Listen, I want to share with you some visual images of couples. They just gave that testimonial, so you see them there. I'm sorry, guys. This is Walter, for those of you who know Walter, and this is Charmaine, and this is their couple, very powerful couple that got a lot out of the weekend. And oh man, this couple right here.
Wow.
There's a story behind this couple. I'm so excited for them.
Proud of them.
Then there's Jeff, as you can see, and his wife, Maribel, with their couple. And then there is our ambassador, Jules with her couple. And then Danielle and I were with this amazing couple here, had a great time with them.
High hopes for them.
Gonzalez, that's his couple. And here we are collectively. We had the graduation ceremony. We're all in this group. It just was an impactful weekend.
I'm super excited about these certificates that we're doing and giving away now, because it is powerful when you can acknowledge that you completed something. One of the things that we do in our Moving Forward program is we have you reestablish a new commitment and a new vision for your marriage. And so you'll create that and you'll put that on a wall somewhere as a reminder. And those certificates are a reminder. This weekend is not easy. It's intensive, and when we say it's intense, we mean it. And people will often say at the end, you meant it. It was intense. It is a lot of work, emotional work, sometimes physical work. We are doing the thing. But getting to the end of this process and completing it, because there have been some people that have quit the process, and it's unfortunate. Quit the process and walk down on the situation. We try our best to keep that from happening, but sometimes people don't want to put in the work. But when you've completed something like that together, it means something. And so now we're offering something that they'll never forget.
And it's interesting when people come here trapped for 3 days, and sometimes every now and then they'll do anything they can to get out.
Trying to jump the gate and everything. You ain't getting out of here.
She's like, not over here.
Loose the dogs. Loose the dogs.
And so one couple came in, literally their backs were turned literally the whole time, wouldn't look at each other.
Yeah, the whole time.
Their backs weren't even touching. Like, don't even touch.
Oh, right, the backs were not touching.
They weren't even touching. Like, the entire first full day, they were done. That morning, they were like, I'm not coming. What do you mean? I'm not coming. I'm looking for flights now. I'm about to get in this Uber. I'm headed to the airport. I'm not coming. And a move of God took place. They got here. And oh my God. After that morning session, everything changed for that couple. And this is what I'm saying, guys. If you feel hopeless, if you think that your situation is helpless, give this a last chance try, because it will be true.
And if you think we haven't seen it, trust me, we've seen it. We have seen it and worse. And actually, oftentimes when people say, you don't understand my partner, you have never dealt with that partner, after we understand their Enneagram personality styles, and after we break down what their partner has been seeing and there becomes understanding, it's completely different than what their partner thought. You know, it's like we think we have these major offenses and you're doing this to me and you just want to make me miserable. No, actually the person themselves, they're miserable. They're dealing with their own issues and their own anxieties, and it's expressed in all these different ways that offend you.
That's right.
So,
guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We will be right back. Stay right there for this brief announcement. Got more to share with you.
to the wives struggling to move forward, I know that you're hurt, filled with doubt, fear, anger, and resentment. I know you're trying to be your best self throughout this recovery process, all while still having to be mom, daughter, sister, friend, and so much more. I know it feels impossible to be there for everyone else when at times your journey feels so isolated and alone. I know that more than once a day you scream on the inside, I can't take this anymore. I know there are days when you feel like you want to give up and run away. I know you spend too much time sitting in your car parked in the driveway to get your head right so that you can keep moving. I know this feels like a lot of work with no guarantees. And I know you wonder, what happened to me? Who am I? And why am I here? More than you'd like to admit. I know all of this because I once felt the way you do too. It may not be evident by looking around, because we all wear our masks, but you're not the only one who feels like you'll never get back to you. That's why I've launched Unearthed. Unearthed is a 12-week group coaching program focused on discovering the woman within. Just as the earth hides all kinds of precious stones waiting to be found, buried within every woman are the seeds of wisdom, strength, purpose, and passion waiting to be brought to the light. Unearthed will take you through a spiritual, emotional, and physical excavation process that will reveal to you who God designed you to be and guide you through a process to embrace and activate your true identity. When you complete this journey, you'll have a new focus aligned with your core values so that you can begin to feel your life again and discover that your gifts aren't buried, but planted and waiting to be unearthed. Register today. Boom.
We're back, guys. We're back.
There's Unearthed, guys. I don't want to skip that. I think you guys need to, if you are struggling in your relationship, get in that program. And also, I want to add this part. There's something about a program when you are typically doing life alone. We talked about this yesterday, that now more than ever, it seems like, especially like Christian folks and church folks, seem to be displaced because the churches have closed, right? That used to be where your community was, and now everything is virtual, and so people are displaced. Something happens when you go from doing life alone to having a community. And so that's another very powerful point and thing that happens within Unearthed and Foundry. So make sure you sign up, guys.
One of the things, whether you're in the Foundry, Unearthed, whether you're at a Last Chance Week in a private marriage and into the Moving Forward program, I think collectively we all would admit that for a long time we've been doing marriage wrong, and we've come to a place where we've realized it and we want to get back on track so we can begin to do it right. And when I think about like the Last Chance Weekend, even though I would say 95% of the people come because of an infidelity, let's just broaden it, a betrayal. 100% come because of a betrayal. But the betrayal isn't always a physical affair. Oftentimes it could be a variety of different things. I mean, some people are just horrible in terms of their communication, their family dynamic, their parenting. all types of things. And so, I would say probably 20 to 30%, regardless of why they're coming, one of the things that they're really struggling with are finances.
Oh my God, yes. Financial infidelity is huge. And before I dive into that, people think that betrayal or infidelity has to be sexual. That if I haven't had sex with somebody, that it's not infidelity and it's not a betrayal. Absolutely not. People come here because of lies. Literally, the person just is a liar and cannot come clean on simple things like, where were you? And they weren't being unfaithful, they just lie. That is betrayal. Emotional infidelity is huge. Huge. Well, I was lonely and I needed somebody to talk to and we were just friends. It doesn't count. No.
We were just
friends. It really minimizes that emotional, that tethering and that heart connection that you have with someone that you should have with your spouse. And that could be devastating to someone. And also there are many other betrayals aside from sexual betrayal that the reason why they come here is because they cannot get their partner to understand how devastating that is to the person. Financial infidelity is one of those things, and actually, depending on your personality style, and I'm always going to go to the Enneagram because literally it is a holy grail to help you understand the person. Some people, when you have betrayed them financially, it is devastating. I've heard people say, listen, I could recover from the sexual infidelity because I know it was just sex. That wasn't anything. But when you financially betrayed me, you hurt me so bad because you destroyed my safety and my security. You wanted to destroy my whole life. You spent all the money and left us broke. We could have been homeless. Do you see what I'm saying? And so for some people, it's even more devastating because they are a safety, security type of person, and they want and need to feel secure in you, and they trusted you with their future and their well-being. And sometimes you don't know what they've come from, why it is so important to have that assurity in that area.
And the reason why financial infidelity even takes place is because couples are not on the same page, right? They're operating in independent thinking, independent decision making. They've made assumptions about what their partner would go along with, what they wouldn't go along with. I know better than he or she, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Maybe they just are independent and autonomous in the way that they think. A lot of people have been married for a long time and still have a single mindset. They don't understand, wait a minute, we are one. There's a oneness, and so we need to make decisions together. So you're making these financial decisions, putting your family in crisis because there were certain things you didn't consider that your spouse could have given you input into that would have changed everything. So now it's not just about me not trusting you with some man or some woman. I don't trust your decisions. I don't trust that you have the best interests of our family in mind. I don't trust that you're wise enough to know what to do. And so that creates this back and forth just struggle. And let me tell you something, as there are couples who struggle to recover from financial infidelity just as long as it takes from any type of physical or emotional place. Because it's, trust is earned over time. I can't say that enough.
Yes.
And many of you have this belief that they should just get over it. All right, we talked about it. Let's move on. Can we just move on? Well, no, I'm still in a place of being stuck.
Right, and also sometimes, it's beyond, okay, here's the tools. Now I understand why this was wrong. Let me do something different. For some people, it is an actual addiction. Financial infidelity could be an addiction, just like sex can be an addiction, right? Maybe you're a gambler. Maybe you're a high roller and a spender. And so this is something that you really actually need continued support and therapy to deal with. And so it goes deep, guys. It goes so much deeper than, I didn't understand and I wasn't raised this way, right? Because oftentimes I wasn't raised to manage money. I don't know. And so that's the cop out. We have to get to a point where we decide to hold ourselves accountable to what we didn't know and grow from there. I was actually listening to a Marco Polo this morning from some of my friends, and they came across an old video of yours, and they said, you had said something on the show. You said you will share your body, but you won't share your finances? And they were hollering and cracking up. Actually, my friend's son heard it, and he was like, oh God, and that's the level of intimacy that we need to get to, that not just our finances, of course our bodies, right? But not just our finances, but in every way, we are completely and totally transparent, and that we are willing to open up the most intimate details and parts of us, right? There should be nothing that we're hiding from each other. And so people oftentimes minimize financial infidelity as if it's not a big deal.
But let's pause on that. You'll share your bodies, but won't share a bank account. Your money's more sacred than your physical body.
Think about that.
You've given that up to so many people.
Ooh,
But when it comes to your money,
can't nobody get it down,
and one thing about it, you only have one body. Money comes and goes,
right?
right? But you put more value, more stock into that, and you enter into your marriage with a very me, myself, and I mentality. Was mine is mine, was yours is yours. Because my debt, that I'm not paying your debt. You need to figure your debt out. You need to get your credit situation about. I'm working on my credit. Your savings is your savings, my savings is my savings. And you live a very Dutch life where you go half on everything. We go half on bills, half on kids, half on, like, we taking vacations. You gonna put in? You gonna put in? We going half on everything. Because there's no alignment when it comes to the finances. And as we say all the time, that's one of the top 5 issues that couples struggle with deeply in their relationship. And until they get into a better place, they're always going to struggle. And we share the story all the time about how we were not in financial alignment. That was one of the issues we had in our marriage. That was an Achilles heel. We were doing our own thing. But it's not until we submitted. Yeah. That's right, Danielle had to submit. But I had to submit as well. I had to submit as well.
We talked about this last night, didn't we?
Yeah, why are you laughing with me?
Because Hassan tries to put me out there. He tries to.
She had to shouldn't submit. We found somebody.
I did, and I didn't mind either.
We found somebody who had wisdom and insight and expertise, and someone who bears the fruit. See, that's another thing. I'm very careful who I listen to. I don't care about your degrees and certifications and how much you know. How are you living? What fruit do you have? What results have you produced? I need to see your lifestyle before I take any advice from you. So we found somebody who had the fruit that we were like, oh, do you see this? Okay, obviously they're doing something right. Tell us more. And we began to be open to a conversation and learn some things. Some of the things he said, I've been saying. Some of the things he said, she's been saying. But sometimes when you're not in alignment, you can't hear from your spouse. Sometimes you have to hear the same message from a different messenger for it to sink in. And once we got into alignment, there was a quantum explosive growth that happened with us, with what we could do with our finances, because we were on the same page. And that is the message that we try to keep getting to people. Mm-hmm. The power of agreement, the law of agreement, the power of alignment. And the enemy wants to do everything to create discord, dissension, animosity, hatred, venom, vitriol between couples so that they can never tap into the power of their partnership.
Well, I think that was one of the most impactful workshops that was shared this past weekend with the couples. Those folks came here with other issues as well, physical, actual, emotional betrayal with another partner or another person. That money conversation landed well with everyone, because if you're not in alignment and in agreement in other areas, chances are you're not in alignment with your money as well, right? And so that's just a mounting problem. It's an even bigger issue on top of the actual physical sexual betrayal.
Yeah. And so guys, listen, I'm calling you out right now. I'm calling you out in order to call you up, right? We need to be called up. And I just want to challenge you. How long are you going to continue to be in this space? How long are you going to continue to struggle? How long are you going to be vacillating back and forth as to what you should do? How long are you going to be, I don't know, just caught up in a state of, I don't know, ambiguity? How long are you going to continue to suffer? How long are you going to be in the pit of your pain? How long? How long are you going to be haunted by memories of the past that don't serve you? How long are you going to hold on to deeply embedded belief systems that do not serve you? How long? What are you going to do about it? We're here every single morning to give you a daily dose of encouragement. But once you've gotten that encouragement, now you got to do something about it.
Do something.
And if you're not willing to do anything about it, then what you're saying is, I'm committed to being in the same situation that I've been in that has not served me. I'm committed to my pain. I'm committed to my misery. I'm committed to a poor relationship, which ultimately means I'm committed to a future that of uncertainty that can get progressively worse in time. Or you can say, today is the day that I make the decision to do something different. And that is why we're here. We want you to reach out to couplesacademy.org, set up a discovery call. Let's have a conversation with you to see how we can serve you in a way that will change and transform your life. Guys, you've been watching the Couples Academy show. This week, we're about to get into some deep conversation. Make sure you tune in because we got what you need. We've been listening to you and we're about to go deep. So invite people to this. Share this. Let them know about Couples Academy show because we're about to hit it hard. Love you guys. See you on tomorrow. Take care. Because it's been hard.